Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name's Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top headlines today. FEMA has resumed some of its operations in North Carolina after over the weekend it said it was forced to pause aid in several areas impacted by Hurricane Helene because of reported threats made toward responders. A 44-year-old man from North Carolina was arrested over the weekend and charged with a misdemeanor. Sherelle Hubbard has more on the story.
In North Carolina, FEMA resumed door-to-door outreach to disaster survivors on Monday afternoon. That's after some FEMA operations were paused due to threats in some counties over the weekend. The pauses came amid a backdrop of misinformation about responses to recent storms.
Some of those stories just continue to persist at the cost of delivering needed resources to disaster survivors.
On FEMA.gov, it has a fact sheet. Myth: FEMA grant money is a loan that I will need to pay back. Fact: FEMA disaster relief are grants which do not need to be repaid. Myth: I'm a renter. I thought FEMA assistance was only for homeowners for home repairs. Fact: FEMA assistance is not just for homeowners. FEMA may provide assistance to help renters who lost personal property or who were displaced. Myth: FEMA asks for upfront payment to help fill out an application or perform an inspection. Fact: FEMA staff and inspectors never charge money for service.
We don't confiscate land. We don't have black helicopters. We don't have FEMA camps.
44-year-old William Jacob Parsons was arrested over the weekend after authorities said he made a comment about possibly harming FEMA employees working after the disaster of Hurricane Helene in the Lake Lurie and Chimney Rock area. They say he was armed with a handgun and rifle. FEMA said threats caused some FEMA offices to close temporarily. President Joe Biden touted the agency's recovery efforts in Tampa Sunday.
FEMA has delivered 1.2 million meals, over 300,000 liters of water.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
Meanwhile, it's been fall in Nebraska for a few weeks now. Hasn't really felt like it for many. That's all changing this week. Some 37 Nebraska counties find themselves in a freeze warning until Wednesday morning. Another 6 are in a freeze watch. The frost and freeze conditions could kill crops and other sensitive vegetation. It could also possibly damage unprotected outdoor plumbing. The National Weather Service advising wrapping or draining pipes or allowing them to drip slowly. Colder temps also affecting states surrounding Nebraska. There are significantly more counties in South Dakota, Iowa, Kansas, and Missouri under freeze warnings. Just 2 Wyoming counties currently face the prospect of frost, but Colorado could see snowy peaks by this weekend. One of the major players in the presidential race coming back to his home state this weekend. Tim Walz will be in Omaha on Saturday. He was born in West Point, raised in Butte, graduated from Chadron State before teaching in Alliance. The appearance from the Minnesota governor and current Democratic vice presidential candidate comes as both parties seek to gain that one electoral vote from Nebraska's 2nd congressional district. Walz and his Republican counterpart, J.D. Vance, were both in Omaha back in August. The parties have split that 2nd district vote in the past 4 presidential elections, with Democrats taking the district in 2008 and 2020, and Republicans winning the district in 2012 and 2016. Walgreens says it's planning to close about 1,200 locations over the next 3 years as the drugstore chain seeks to turn around its struggling U.S. business. The company said Tuesday about 500 store closures will happen in its current fiscal year and should immediately help adjusted earnings and free cash flow. Walgreens leaders said in late June they were finalizing a turnaround plan for its U.S. business. That push could result in the closing of hundreds of underperforming stores. The company has been struggling for years with tight reimbursement for the prescriptions it sells, as well as other challenges. No word on any specific store closures. There are Walgreens in 19 different towns in Nebraska. Well, for many of us, it's a daily ritual, grabbing that essential cup of coffee on your way to work. But it's not just any cup of joe. It might be a pumpkin cream cold brew or an iced dirty chai latte. However, finding your go-to specialty in a rural area isn't always a smooth experience. But Casey Wanenberg shows us how one unique business is brewing change in the Sandhills.
If you're up early in Cody, Nebraska, you might be craving that morning cup of joe. But with livestock definitely outnumbering people, your shot at finding a specialty brew used to be slim.
Thank you. You have a good one.
That is until now. Enter NC Coffee, a coffee shop on wheels based right here in Cody.
Yes, I'm an espresso fan. I like high-level coffee.
Yeah, he's a regular for us in Cody. So.
Stanley Sheed retired to this town of around 150.
I've been driving to Valentine to get coffee for a long time.
Before NC Coffee perked up, Sheed would drive nearly 40 miles each way a few times a week.
I have a thermos and it would last me 2 or 3 days.
Clay and Natasha Hamilton, the couple behind the business, are based out of Cody.
Showing Christ to the community.
But they often roll out to nearby towns, including Valentine, when other coffee shops are closed.
We were south of Cody as well, so we were an hour from Valentine. And so we knew that there were a couple coffee places here, but we're like, well, we don't want to drive an hour to get coffee.
They brewed up a plan, investing in their own coffee roaster and espresso machine at home. This year, they decided to share their personal equipment and expertise.
So we had worked at a couple of coffee shops in North Carolina, and we just really enjoyed it. And we're like, well, this would be cool one day to, open up something like this.
With their dream now a reality, NC Coffee isn't just serving up regulars like Stanley.
And then, of course, I got to get my peach tea for later when it's not coffee time.
But also brewing up new customers.
I brought my lovely father with me.
Who aren't used to the specialty coffee experience.
He wants just plain old black hot coffee.
Folgers.
A statement heard all over America.
Americano, isn't that what you call it?
Until they take that first sip.
Black coffee right here, buddy.
Coffee on wheels bringing high-end brews to rural Nebraska. In the Sandhills, Casey Wannenberg, News Channel, Nebraska.
Organizers of a fundraising event in Grand Island are touting a large amount of money to support public schools. The Grand Island Public Schools Foundation says they raised over $138,000 during its third annual fundraising harvest event. The event featured dinner, a silent auction, a live auction, a dessert dash, and a guest speaker at Riverside Golf Club last month. Over 3 decades, the foundation has helped fund different programs. Last school year alone, they say they invested over $1.4 million. In southeast Nebraska, when the Beatrice Orangemen football season comes to an end, the House of Orange at Beatrice High will be getting a new field turf playing surface. The Beatrice Board of Education Monday night gave the go-ahead to replace the current artificial space, now about 12 years old and at its lifespan. The board unanimously approved a bid of $505,000 after taking prices from 5 different companies.
The companies doing the installation give us better rates at the end of the football season than they do in the summertime when they're stacked full and busy. So if we approve this, our plan would be to move forward with it at the end of the football season, start getting the turf torn up and replacing the new turf. Because we get a better discounted rate at that point.
The district will finance the acquisition over a 3-year budget cycle with the option to pay it off earlier. The board also authorized acquiring more playground equipment for the new elementary school for kindergarten through 5th grades. Superintendent Jason Alexander says 2 sets of equipment from the former Stoddard Elementary have been added to the site. The district will be utilizing a design by Creative Sites to add items at a total cost of about $313,000. And in sports, a southeast Nebraska school returning to the state softball tournament this week, leaning on a deep lineup and some strong pitching. Jake Bartecki has more.
Beatrice softball head coach Gary Lytle described his 2024 group as young but competitive. 4 seniors on this team, that's all. But it's been good enough for 26 wins and a 3 seed at the state tournament as Beatrice heads to Hastings with a 2nd straight season.
It's from sophomore all the way to senior where you're seeing leadership and whatever else. The competitive part is that, from the top of the group to the bottom of the group, they're all very competitive with each other in practice and competitive in the games, and not too many of them like to lose very much.
A perfect example of that is the Lady Orange pitching staff. It consists of 2 sophomores in Kerrigan Henricks and Jada Berkey and junior Layla Boyko. The staff has collected a 3.6 team ERA. Boyko and Henricks say the strength through the staff has been crucial to the team's success.
It has been amazing for me as another pitcher. It's one of those, obviously the load is big on a pitcher, but being able to share that load and being able to have that feeling of being able to be the leaders on the team has been fun, and it's been very enjoyable to have.
So we're different pitchers, but we obviously complement each other really well, and that's really nice. Especially last year, I know it was just me and Jada, but this year, obviously having a third one really helps us out, and it's really a staff this year.
Boyko and Henricks have combined for 19 wins, and the Lady Orange starting catcher has been junior Sadie Herrick. She says the 2 are different pitchers, but both enjoyable to catch.
It's been good. I like catching both of them. They're both they're both different in their ways, and it's just really fun catching them.
It was a very focused and business-like practice session on Monday for the Lady Orange, and Coach Lytle telling me he thinks a lot of that is a reaction to how last year ended at state. Beatrice had a really good team, ran into a buzzsaw, got eliminated by a very good Blair team, and they're looking to change that here this week. Lady Orange get the state tournament started at 9 a.m. on Wednesday when they take on 6-seed Gretna East. You can hear the entire Lady Orange State tournament run on 94.7 FM, 1450 AM, KWBE. In Beatrice, Jake Bartecki, NCN Sports Now.
And you can stay up to date with the very latest by following us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com and click on the news tab there. You can also follow us on X, like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. You're watching News Channel Nebraska.